if you are depressed, you should heal your gut. The first thing you should look at is your state of gut health. And I've realized this the past few days because I ate a bad steak and that cooked me for 3-4 days. I was feeling like life was meaningless. I felt like, I didn't have any motivation left, no drive left. I'm a health coach and I still felt like this. I felt like, nothing really mattered. I was starting to look for dopamine in foods, in scrolling on my phone. I was nearly like crashing out. And this reminds me of my past, like a few years ago when I had this every single day because I was eating processed foods. I was eating, a balanced diet. I didn't really think much of my diet and stuff like that. So in this video, I will be speaking about my experience, how I healed my gut. And if you're struggling with your mental health, maybe you're not feeling very motivated, you're not feeling happy, but you're not really feeling sad either. Maybe you're depressed. But also, if you're just struggling with your gut health in general, maybe that leads to acne or brain fog or bloating, this video will also be for you. So first of all, I will be speaking about my experience the past few days and when I struggle with my gut health on a daily basis. And second of all, the gut to brain connection. Third of all, what actually irritates and leads to a damaged gut. And then fourth and lastly, how you can actually heal your gut health. So yeah, first of all, like the past few days when I ate this steak that was, bad, I immediately got like stomach pains. I didn't feel like this was right eating. And the same night, I woke up at like 4 a.m. like really struggling, like my stomach was so bad. I had stomach pains. I was sitting on the toilet for like 1 hour straight. My head was like, I thought that it was gonna explode. My heart was pumping, I was sweating, like I was completely destroyed. And I immediately I knew that my body had to push this out, had to flush out whatever was wrong with in my gut. So yeah, I was having diarrhea, and over the next few days, like after that, I was feeling so weird. Like I was feeling bad. As I said, I was feeling like a bit sad, like dull. Just life was like dull. I didn't really see any motivation or didn't see anything like useful with actually like living the day-to-day life, just because I didn't feel anything. Like up here I was just irritated, like felt kind of, you can say, depressed, and this reminded me, as I said, of my past when I was struggling with this on a daily basis, when I had gut issues, when I had acne, I was bloated, I was feeling pretty dull with life overall, like didn't see a purpose with it. And the most important thing is my brain didn't produce the right neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, GABA, didn't produce the right ones so I could feel motivated and happy because my gut was completely messed up. So that will bring me to my next point. So second of all, the gut to brain connection. Surprisingly, your gut is connected with your brain and your mental state, because your gut and your brain is connected through the vagus nerve, and they constantly communicate with each other. So if you have a bad gut health, then you will feel bad mentally as well. And this is what I realized these past few days. Your neurotransmitters are directly influenced by what's happening in your digestive system. So if your gut is inflamed or irritated, or you have leaky gut, whatever, that will, as I said, change your state of health and how your brain functions. And neurotransmitters are basically like messengers in your brain. They are the ones that dictate how you will feel, if you feel motivated, if you feel happy, if you feel sad, anxious, whatever. So when people speak about neurotransmitters, it's basically dopamine, serotonin, and GABA, if you've heard of those. And when I speak about like people that are addicted to dopamine, you're addicted to dopamine, your dopamine will change your health. Like if you're addicted to your phone, If you're addicted to scrolling, that's you being addicted to dopamine. That's you being addicted to sheep and artificial dopamine. So that's a neurotransmitter that you can also get from, living life and being biochemically healthy and having a nice, good, healthy gut health as well. So if your digestion is slow or damaged from you eating processed foods or drinking sodas or, eating foods right before you fall asleep, so you digest the food while you're asleep, when you're supposed to sleep, and your digestion is, just cooked, then you won't absorb nutrients effectively. And when you cannot absorb nutrients effectively, then the neurotransmitters won't be produced efficiently or effectively as well. So when you cannot properly produce neurotransmitters such as dopamine, serotonin, the neurotransmitters that makes you happy or makes you motivated or driven, or you can just look at the sun or be in sunlight and you feel just fulfilled. If you cannot properly produce those, then of course your life will feel dull and your life will feel like it sucks, and you will get acne, you will be bloated, you won't be satisfied with life and the way you feel, And I've had gut issues the past 5 years because I was into this state of like being a gym bro, working out, eating a bunch of processed foods, just bulking, consuming energy drinks, consuming a bunch of bullshit, just like eating food but not really looking at what's actually in the food as well. So this is something that really damaged my gut, and I had super bad gut health for the past 5 years. And this led to me feeling like life was fucking, like, it sucks, right? So that's like the issue with just eating food and not really looking at what function the food will have in your body. And up until like last year, I would say around 1.5 years ago, 1 year ago, I fully healed my body from disease and gut issues from just like, researching about health, but also testing myself and going back to nature, going back to simplicity. And when I became biochemically healthy again, my body and brain was able to produce these neurotransmitters properly, and my life came back. My life force came back. I felt super healthy, super good, very motivated, driven. I was out there, found my purpose now, helping people like you that are watching this video by healing your gut. Yeah, just like I found my purpose, I found the life force now that I've fully healed my gut. And this reminds me, or these past few days reminded me of how life can actually feel when you're biochemically unhealthy. So I'm not saying that every like depression case stems from a bad gut health. Of course, like there can still be mental issues involved, but I would say most of depression, or if your life sucks, it mostly comes from you not being biochemically healthy and you not having a good gut health. So number 3, what is actually damaging your gut health? What is actually causing this in the first place? And the most obvious things is, processed foods, is alcohol, is sodas, it's chemicals, candy, whatever unnatural you put in your mouth, that will damage your gut health. Because obviously, if we live in nature, if we live how God or nature intended us to live, we would eat stuff from nature, natural stuff only. But even if you are eating natural stuff or things that are, people say to you that it's healthy and it might be good for your gut health, it can still damage your gut. So for example, lots of fiber, so from raw vegetables, pasteurized dairy, gluten like bread, pasta, grains, and also like energy drinks and supplements, those are still unnatural. And like vegetables, for example, grains, for example, are or have been used as a survival food for us to consume when we didn't have access to raw animal products in the past. So now we still have these survival foods that people buy just because they're cheap. And it's the same principle. They're survival food. So in today's society, if you don't have enough money, You buy the cheapest quality foods, which usually is grains, it is pasta, it is bread, and it's the same thing. So what you need to look at here is if you're consuming any of these survival foods with gluten, fiber, I'd say those are the main two things that will damage your gut, but also pasteurized dairy, because pasteurized dairy is heated dairy. You're losing the enzymes and bacteria, so that will still be a process. Same thing with pasta. If you're making pasta, that is a process. If you're making porridge or grains, if you're using grains, for example, that will also need to be a process involved in that, because you cannot eat raw grains, you cannot eat raw pasta, or like bread is not actually like in the most rawest form. And I believe to fully heal from disease, you need to eat food in the most rawest form possible. And also here, you can have the most perfect diet ever, but if you're chronically stressed, you're stressing all the time, you're always in fight or flight mode, maybe you're working a lot, maybe you're inside all the time just looking at your phone, not really living life, then you can have the most perfect diet. But if your body thinks that it's in a dangerous situation, like you're in fight or flight mode, you have elevated cortisol levels, then your body won't actually focus on digesting and breaking down nutrients and food. It will prioritize survival. That's why you're in survival mode. So this is why regulating your nervous system is so important, because without you being, if you're not in digest and rest and digest mode, which is called the parasympathetic mode, you won't absorb the nutrients, you won't break it down, your body is not ready to handle the food that you're putting in your mouth in the first place. So that's why you need to practice stuff that regulates your nervous system and puts you in the parasympathetic nervous system mode. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but the fight or flight mode is sympathetic nervous system mode, and the rest and digest mode is parasympathetic mode. Maybe I messed it up earlier. So your body needs to reassure that it's in a safe place so it can focus on digesting and healing and building. Fourth of all, how can you actually heal your gut? You don't heal by adding more here in terms of gut health. And this is where people they do it wrong. They think that they need to add something on top of what they're already doing. But what they're already doing is something wrong. They're already poisoning themselves. They're already damaging their body. And on top of that, they're adding stuff to heal themselves. But the main problem, or the main thing to do here, is to cut off what you're actually already doing wrong. So how are you actually right now damaging your gut health? Why isn't your gut healing? Well, it's because you're damaging your gut. This means that the first step will be elimination. You eliminate what is actually irritating your gut. And it's almost important for you to identify what is irritating the gut if you're not first eliminating everything. Some people can be very sensitive to pasteurized dairy. Some people can be very sensitive to gluten. Some people can be very sensitive to raw vegetables, such as, or like me, I'm very sensitive to all those things, but I'd say I can be very sensitive to raw vegetables because they can ferment in my gut and it's too much fiber for me to handle. Meanwhile, some people can still kind of handle that, but they're very, very sensitive to pasteurized dairy. So you need to eliminate all the things first. And of course, then after that, you can start adding back in stuff. But elimination, get rid of the processed foods, get rid of alcohol, obviously, get rid of the supplements, obviously, get rid of fiber, pasteurized dairy, and gluten. So no bread, no pasta, no pasteurized dairy, as I said, like pasteurized milk, yogurt, whatever, and no vegetables. And this might surprise you, but vegetables can actually cause more harm than you think, So cut those out and strip the diet down for a few weeks. Start with focusing on the main things that a human needs, which is animal products, animal protein and animal fat. So that means fish, meat, obviously wild caught, organic. Don't buy low quality mass produced animal products. And then you can have bone broth, so make your own bone broth. And then some eggs as well. That's everything you need. People thrive on this, but in longer terms, I believe that you should add back in stuff such as fruit and bacteria, and more things as well. And if you're someone with elevated cortisol levels, let's say you're stressing all the time and you're kind of shaking, maybe you're working out and stuff, then you would need some simple carbs such as cooked organic potatoes with some butter, but have this as a staple for at least a few weeks or even 1 to 2 months. And after this, you can slowly rebuild. So slowly, when your gut health has improved after 1-2 months on only beef or fish, eggs, bone broth, and some simple carbs, then you can start to add back things. And by this time, you should have improved your mental state a lot. Okay, your neurotransmitters should now been able to get produced properly. You know, so you will feel dopamine. You'll get dopamine and serotonin from being outside, from doing simple things. So this is a very important one. And after this, you should focus on adding back simple bacteria. So from sauerkraut juice, and just in small amounts. And then after that, raw A2 kefir from either cow or goat, where you add back small amounts of bacteria, because obviously your gut is built on bacteria. So it's very important to do that after a while, and then you can start to add back, fruits and things that you used to eat, and see if you can handle that, and see if your mental state gets messed up again, or if you're someone that maybe now you've healed from acne and now you start to introduce stuff again, you get acne again, or you get bloated again, then you want to make sure and you want to actually analyze what works for you and what doesn't work with you. Some people are sensitive to dairy, some people are sensitive to vegetables. So just see and analyze and reflect over these months when you're eliminating and then adding back in again. And then of course you also want to support your digestive system while you're doing this in every single way, in your lifestyle as well. So go for digestion walks. Do not snack in between meals. Actually have gaps in between your meals. So don't constantly go snacking on whatever, Have your meal one, then you're resting, you're letting your digestive tract rest for a while, and then you're having meal 2, and then maximum 3 meals per day. I usually chill for a bit in the morning, maybe have some simple eggs, and then after that I can have a bigger meal, and then I wait maybe 4 or 5 hours, and then I have one more meal, and then maybe some more eggs, but that's it. I don't really snack in between, and it's very important for you to let your digestive tract to rest, okay? Most people just snack 24/7, and they think, just because the snacks are healthy, it won't affect their health or gut health, but that's not actually the case. And reduce stress, improve your sleep, do things as, breath work, meditation, don't be on your phone as much, get outside, get natural light, very, very important. Be outside, support yourself in every single aspect, improve your sleep by not being on your phone right before bed. Deep breaths, I'd say deep breaths, breath work and meditation are very important factors to healing your body from whatever disease, but specifically your gut health, because you want to be in the rest and digest mode. So that's basically it. That's the end of this video. If you're someone that struggles with your mental health, or you're just struggling with gut health or acne, or bloating, or something that has to do with your gut health or mental health, then this video, I promise you, if you actually follow these steps in the video, then you will heal from whatever disease you have in terms of gut health. And I can promise you that. So just follow these steps. If you have any questions, you can DM me on Instagram, for example. My Instagram will be linked in the bio. And what you have to understand is that depression isn't real in nature, okay? So if depression or, bad gut health isn't present in nature, that means that the solution is going back to nature and back to simplicity, okay? Which is a very important thing to understand here, Just the mindset shift. Whatever is unnatural will affect you negatively. Even this phone that you're watching on right now or computer will affect you negatively, maybe in smaller dosages or whatever you say, but it will still affect you negatively. The more you're outside, the more you're living accordingly to nature, the better your health will be, since everyone is healthy living fully accordingly to nature, you know? So you decide which aspect of health you want to be at, or what spectrum you want to be at. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Follow the steps in this video. I'm working on a SKOOL community that will be launched in maximum 1 to 2 months, and I also offer one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested in either of those, just DM me on Instagram. The name is Philip Hagblom, down in the description as well. Yeah, hope you guys get healthier, follow these steps, and tell me what you thought about this video and the value that I gave out in this video. Peace.